Let me tell you about this young lady. We spent some time together. Actually, when she hit senior vice president in March, I sent out to the tribe, everybody, hey, listen, we got a new senior vice president. She got started. She's the senior vice president, listen up, in 3 years. Wow. And it said on the text, she's a mom and a grandmother. So there's hope for all of us because we all can do this. She just went out there and sparked an interest and got going and got busy. And even while we're together in Caicos, Turkey and Caicos, she said people back on her team are working while she's on vacation. And that's how it should be, because everybody should be able to qualify next year because they lowered the standards down to a regional director level. Why is that, Mr. Thomas? Well, because the Canadians have their own trip now. So that gives us more space available at ours, the United States of America, for all of you to get qualified as a regional director, 2,500 points between now and the end of the year, done. And you go with us next year, and we're going to Mexico, right up the street from where I live. Matter of fact, it's less than 45 minutes from my place to where they're going to have next year. But anyway, I just want to thank her for taking time out of her busy schedule to get on the call. We go back a little bit, and maybe she's going to talk about that in the beginning, but she hails from Texas area. She's built her business, like I say, in 3 years. I was so privileged to have some time with her, take some pictures with her, and asked her can she get on our call, because at these resorts, we have time to chit chat with each other because we don't have our teams around us, and we can get to know each other a little bit better. And I'm just so pleased to have her on the call today. Can you guys give a warm welcome to the newest senior vice president in ACN, Miss Wilma Gipson. Let's give her a hand, everybody. Come on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Al Thomas. Yes, I'm here. Happy to be here.
Give everybody a little bit of your background, if you don't mind.
Well, first of all, I've got a really big question for you, Mr. Thomas. How is my boy Danny's knee?
Oh, he's doing better. He's doing better. He's doing better. Everybody, what she's talking about, our son just graduated. He'll be graduating in 2 weeks from high school in Miami. And part of his graduation present was to fly him out and pay, for him to be there with us. So we took him with us to Turkey and Caicos, and he met a friend there, a young lady, and they were out 2 or 3 in the morning. I mean, we're at this resort, guys. It has all these villages. It's safe, and I mean, it's all kind of activities all day. So yeah, he's doing great there. Thanks for asking. I'm here in our home in Mexico for the rest of the week. Then I fly back Sunday, and then Monday I'm off to Miami for a week, and for his graduation. So yeah, thank you for asking. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I want to be like Mr. Thomas when I grew up. Home in Mexico, home in Vegas, home in here. I want to be like him when I grew up. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. And first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for inviting me on your call. But you're going to pay me back, right?
Absolutely, dear. Absolutely.
Well, it was really great to visit with you in Turks and Caicos. And, I've known the legendary Al Thomas. I've known of him for probably now over 40 years, Al. But, just to get to talk to you in person and visit with you in Turks and Caicos was awesome. So I'm a retired educator. I spent 30 years in a school district that I absolutely love even today. Had great jobs. I was a teacher, a coach. I spent 25 years in administration, 17 of which I was the athletic director for a school district. I had 3 high schools and 7 middle schools that I oversaw, and about 142 coaches. So it was a great job. I love athletics. That's my background, my kids' background. By the way, I have a 33-year-old daughter who missed the 2012 Olympics as a long jumper by 3 inches, but Nike signed her anyway to a 4-year contract. So that was fun. She has a beautiful 2-year-old granddaughter that I adore. I have a 31-year-old son who is still single, but I think finally, Mr. Thomas, he's in love. But he's a head boys basketball coach in Frisco, Texas. So they're near and dear to me. When I first started this business, they were my why. They still are, but not as much as they were then. But I remember my sponsor, Susan Fisher, her, Steve Fisher's sister, brought this to me. And I remember thinking, Susan, I don't have time to blow my nose, let alone look at something. But, I trusted Susan. I knew she wasn't going to bring me something that was junk, because I knew that she didn't have any time either. Because at the time, she was a high school principal. Actually, it was my daughter's high school principal. So because I trusted her, I went and took a look, Al, and I remember saying, I can do this. I went home and told my kids I may miss a ball game or 2, but I'm going to do this for us for the long haul. So I've actually been in the industry for about, it'll be 20 years in January. Thank God ACN rescued us back in, it'll be 3 years in June. So I'm so proud to be over here in this community and have had an amazing time meeting great people. But I remember telling my upline, I only have an hour a week to work this thing, because truly I was working 70 to 80 hours a week as an athletic director, early mornings, late nights. I had my own 2 kids in school. I was teaching Sunday school at my church. So that's all I could give them at first. But when we started getting some people in who get it, they get it, the thing just started blowing up. And I was able, praise God, to retire in 2013 at the age of 49. And this is what I do full time. I love being, we were on the lake this past weekend. This girl from the hood never thought she'd own a boat, but we were on the lake with my family this past weekend. We were getting ready to go to the Dominican, taking the family to the Dominican at the end of June. So life is good. I'm just so blessed and thankful that two things. Number one, Susan Fisher felt the obligation to share this with me. And number two, I said yes. I could have said no, like many do, and I'd still be working for somebody else. But I'm just thankful today, thankful to God that I'm here in this space.
What kind of boat do you have?
I got a 24-foot pontoon, trottoon.
Pontoon. Okay, we're actually going out to look at a boat again tomorrow. A couple of boats out here. That's
Okay.
funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we thought we, get one, have a little charter down here, something, have some fun when we're not here, just having it out and making money. And that's the whole idea of making money in network marketing, having those things you're talking about make money for you. If not, just have the family enjoying them, which is perfect. Tell everybody how we kind of knew each other from a previous company, kind of knew of each other. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah. So again, Steve Fisher, Susan Fisher's brother, had shared with us this company called Excel. And I joined, but I kind of got in on the back end of it, and I really didn't do very much. I was in for about 18 months, didn't really do anything, made a little money, but I had always heard about Al Thomas and how dynamic and how amazing he was and is today. And you know what? I understand that some people, when they left Excel, went to ACN like Al did, and some went to Ignite like my upline did, and thus that's how that disconnect happened. I'm just so glad we were reconnected. But everybody in the network marketing world knows Mr. Al Thomas, and I'm so proud to know him as well.
Yeah. Now tell everybody you came over 3 years ago and you just start working. Give us a little bit of your DMO if you don't mind, because when I tell people you've done it in 3 years, they're like, huh? SVP in 3 years? Well, and like she said, she also highlighted getting the right people. So tell us what happened your DMO today, or your DMO to get you to SVP.
Yeah.
Because I know people are curious about that.
First of all, Al, I remember when we first got the news that we were becoming IBOs with ACN. Of course, after the shock factor wore off, I just started diving in, trying to figure out, because I had heard of ACN, but I never, ever looked at anything with ACN. I didn't know anything about the compensation plan, any of that. So I just quickly dove in. I will say this, some top leaders, and this is a point I want to make, some top leaders didn't transition over in that time period that we had to transition over. They were feeling upset because we were sold. I'm like, people can sell whatever they want to sell when they own it. And I remember thinking, God, y'all just got to come over here and give it a try, take a look. But anyway, that's what I did. I transitioned over and I started diving in to see what ACN was all about, learn the compensation plan, learn the positions, learned what the requirements were to get to the next level. And I just put my head down, Al, because this is what I know to be true about me. If there's a system, see, I'm an old coach. So if I can see the X's and O's, I can execute the plan. So when I saw the X's and O's, so to speak, when I saw how simple the plan was, I knew it was going to take work. I mean, I wasn't, too naive to figure that I wouldn't have to work. So I just decided I was going to make this thing work, and I followed the plan because I'm a good plan follower. I'm not good at making up things, but when it's already set for me, I can certainly execute the plan and teach my team how to execute the plan. So my daily method of operation, basically, I'm not gonna say I get up at 6 o'clock and work out and all that. I don't even say that, Al, but I do. I am up by 8. And this morning I took a walk. I try to take a walk 4 or 5 days a week with my dog. And I come into my office right here in my house. And I do several things. I first of all look at my back office to see who's where, what's needed, because you got to stay on top of that stuff. That is what I've learned with ACN. You can't just get to the position and say, "Ooh, I've arrived." No, as SVP, I know my challenge is even greater now. Yep. So I have my, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. I have my dry erase board up there. So I know exactly who's where, what I need to get to where I need to get, helping them get to where they need to get. And then, of course, I do. I think I learned this from one of the top leaders in ACN. I have my 100 squares, and I don't even have it updated right now, but I have my 100 squares of people that I show the plan to. And I always make a note, because man, I'm 61 years old, Al. Sometimes I don't remember some things, but I always make a note as to what they said. Can I call them back? When can I call them back? They absolutely said no. I just put all that up there, so I remember what's going on. So that I look at that every day. Who can I call? Who can I follow up with? Who said they were interested? Because this is what I know. This is what I believe. When they tell me they're interested, I'm going to stay on them until they tell me, yes, I'm ready to go, or until they tell me no. Don't tell me you're interested, then drag me out 4, 5, 6 months. I just need to know where you stand. Don't take it personal. So those are some things I do daily, Al, and I'm certainly making calls to some of my leaders. We have a team Zoom every Monday. I do a leadership forum 45 minutes before that Zoom, just to talk to about 12 leaders. That's what I want to get you on now. I talked to about 12 leaders because I can talk to them like I need to talk to them. Sometimes you can say some things to certain people that you can't say to the big group. So I get a little bit down and dirty with those 12 leaders that were handpicked.
Yeah. What do you do? I used to have a leadership group, and some of them got sold. They didn't get on there, and it's like their lid is so high, I can't take them any higher. But that's so true about that. I love that about you. Ladies and gentlemen, she said a couple of nuggets I'm going to re-highlight. She says, I knew it was going to take work when she made the transition. And a lot of people get caught they just can't, they're not willing to work. And another thing that was very powerful, she said a lot of her leaders didn't come over, not just her leaders, but leaders didn't come over at the transition. I remember when we came over from XL to ACN, there's only several of us. The rest, like I said, they got hurt behind it, and they just, their ego, pride, whatever it was, they just didn't make the transition, and that's sad. And she said also she made a plan, ladies and gentlemen. You guys cut that. She stuck to the plan. So many of us don't stick to the plan. And then I love the idea, I think it was Jeff pull out and started talking about the 100 squares. And here again, senior vice president, 100 squares, she showed it to you. So if I were you, wink, wink, I'd start my 100 squares today and get it and stick with it. So give us a couple other tips that you found to be very good for building your network marketing through all these years of network marketing.
One of the main things that I believe is so vitally important, Al, is I've just got to be present. And sometimes, and after 20 years, I know you've been in over 30 years, Al, 35 years or something like that.
35 years.
Wow. And after a while, my goodness, I don't know about you, Al, but I get a little tired. I get tired, but I got to be present for my team, because if I'm not present, unless they're a really motivated go-getter themselves, they probably aren't going to do much. So that's why I travel around. I do Zooms, and that's great, but I am such a belly-to-belly person. That's how I built my business, through a home meeting. And we still have home meetings. I'm driving to Lubbock. I drive to Lubbock 4.5 hours next week to do a home meeting with my team, because we just deregulate that market they've been running. And I'm going to leave Lubbock and drive 8 hours down to the Valley, where I have a great team in South Texas. So I just got to show them that I'm with them. Some people need to be a little spoon-fed, unfortunately, until we can get them to where they need to be. And then we kind of kick out the nest. So I think my main tip of what I do, Al, is I got to be present, and I got to show my team what I'm doing. I got to communicate with them what I'm doing, so I can challenge them to do the same. It's no fun for me to sit here and just sit and be a dictator and try to, I see Melissa's on here. I see Jackie's on here. I don't want to be a dictator just cracking the whip saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, and I'm not doing it. So That is
Absolutely.
my greatest tip that I can leave. Just got to be present. You know, another thing that really annoys me, Al, is we bring in new people and we expect them to know everything and go make us a bunch of money. Well, we hope that happens, but if we don't take the time to sit down with them and train them, I always take about an hour, hour and a half. And I just use that launching your business document that's in our back office. I'm not trying to recreate anything. And I just take them through a training because I don't want anybody to say, well, Willa didn't help me. Willa didn't show me. Willa didn't teach me. No one will ever say that. They can say, I just didn't do anything. They might say that. So I feel very strong about training so people can get out of the gate fast and they can make the bonus money as soon as possible, promote to ETL, promote to RC and get that money. And then I'm always just begging people to attend our international event like you talked about, Al. That's coming up in Cleveland.
That's right. It's so important. You know, you said something very important. Like, ladies and gentlemen, like she's not trying to reinvent the wheel. Being a coach, show me what's working. I'll just duplicate it. And I love how you said this. Get the document, ladies and gentlemen, in your back office and just teach from that. You don't need to come up with something new. It works. And that's why it's called a system. Together, each achieves more. It's a system. And like she said, just put me in the system. And that has, you know, I mean, if you think about it, she started, came over 3 years ago and hit SVP in 3 years. Well, why? She's giving you, hey, the system, the 100-box squares. It's just simple stuff and being present for a team. I try to go visit my team in every area I'm in at least once every 45 days. And there's some areas I haven't been to in over a year and I'm just starting to go back to, or 6 months, but it goes back to the leadership, you know, and I'm loving that you're saying you're driving here and you're driving there and you're going where you want it. And I like that part. So with that said, give us another couple of tidbits of a brand new IBO's on the call today, been in less than, let's say, 90 days. What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say it is important that you're teachable and coachable. And I know we're bringing in sharp people that may know a lot of things about a lot of things. But I think you really got to be teachable and coachable. Listen to your upline. If you upline and engage, find somebody is somewhere in your organization and do something every day. Of course, get those 5 services out of the way immediately. I know ACN gives us 30 days to do that, Al, but we teach our teams, if we're trying to get the ETL, we gotta do that a lot quicker than 30 days, especially when they can be those 5 services themselves. That's another thing that annoys me. New people come in and they don't even get the services themselves. So that's a red flag for me right there. I don't quit working with them. But in those first 30, 60, 90 days, I believe I've got to hold their hand. I just believe that until they really understand. And if they're engaged, and if they're just sitting around doing nothing now, my time is a little valuable and so is theirs, but my time is really valuable. So I'm going to make sure if they're working, and I even ask them this, Al, when I find out what they want to accomplish in ACN, I ask them this question: do I have your permission to push you and encourage you based on what you just told me? And 100% of the time, people say yeah. Whether they mean it or not, they always say yes. So those are some things I do too. When we were in Turks, or maybe it was on one of Larry Raskin's trainings, Al, remember he said something about how do you create momentum? You got to create an environment of duplication. How do you duplicate? You got to taproot. But one thing that knocked me out of my chair, I wrote it down, Al. He asked the question: how many people in your organization can do what you do in the manner in which you do it? I thought, oh my gosh, I about fell out of my chair. I couldn't name a handful, Al, and that's on me because evidently I'm not creating an environment of duplication. So that's one of my goals. I'm working on that right now as we speak.
Well, a matter of fact, you brought that up. Last night, I do it every Tuesday night. I do a 1 through 10 every Tuesday night. And it blows my mind how I have the people that get on there. And then there's other people who won't get on there and they call themselves leaders. It's cracking me up. They still haven't brought anybody in the business. So last night, what's still saying, you must inspect what you suspect. So last night, doing the call, those that were on there last night, I had different people read different boxes because I'm seeing if my leadership have came through that they can do it. It's like you said. And it's amazing how they came through with flying colors because I said, okay, you do a box, you do a box. You do a box and you do a box. And I was happy to see that. and they're growing. And that's what you're saying, exactly what you're saying. You got to see if the people are under you are growing. And the only reason they're growing, how do we know they're growing? By the IBOs and customers coming on their team. And if there's no IBOs, no fresh blood coming in, they're just not doing the bit, just falling to the wayside. And I appreciate you saying that, because I say it so many times. It's almost like the old saying, don't tell your kids, don't touch the stove, and they'll touch it. And let somebody else say it, they won't touch it. So I love that you said the same thing I'm saying, because that's what it's about when you get to that leadership position, is seeing how many leaders can do what you do and keep doing it whether you're around or not.
That's right. Yep. And and I also know this sounds so old and cliche-ish, but I'm old school anyway. We just gotta get out of our own way and get out of our own way. Another thing I do often is I look in my organization to see not necessarily anybody I personally brought in, but see what's going on. That's that taprooting thing. See what's going on in others downline. See who's really producing, because ACN is they reward people that produce. So I try to take on that same mindset. Who's producing, and let me reach out to them and let me see how I can help them. So that's another part of my DMO that I do, just to see what's going on in my organization. And it takes some time. Another thing I did the other day, Al, because I'm still so, excuse my French, I'm a little butthurt that more of the leaders didn't come over here that were doing well in Connect. So I went through one of my RVPs downlines, about 1,800 of those names. I went through every one of those names to see who transitioned and to see who was still active with their storefront. And I reached out to all of them and said, come on now, y'all were doing so well over here. It's time to come on over and let's make another run together. I always like to try to let people know we're going to do this together. You're not on this island by yourself. Hey, Robert, I see Robert in here. So, yeah.
It's amazing how people get, as you say, butthurt. I remember we made the transition from XL to ACN. And a lot of people, like you said, didn't come over, and they were good leaders, or they went to this company, that company fell away, but we're still doing well. And it's amazing how I remember myself personally, I tell you something, I got mad at Kenny Trout for 3 years, and I finally called him and said, I forgive you. And he's like, forgive me for what? I mean, this guy's a billionaire. I said, because you said you never sell. And I had to think about it for a second. If I was walking in his shoes, I would never sell either. However, if I got $1.1 billion, adios amigos, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And this man went on with his life. He forgot all about me and everybody else, because he got it, he's gone. And I had to come to the realization to get that off my chest. And when I did that, weight came off, because I was carrying that around, because he said he would never do this, but he did. So a lot of times people get behind that and their emotions get in the way and they can't see clear. And I thank you for saying that.
Yep. Well, I'm just, if I didn't have HCN, I truly would be working probably somewhere. Because you mentioned something so important too, Al. So many people think the grass is greener on the other side, and they get over there and they see it's not, and they want to come back, which is okay, but just stay with things, hang in there, be resilient, because this is hard. And at SVP, I know you probably don't know this, Al, because you got this huge organization, but it's a challenge to stay there. And so I'm not here thinking I'm here, good for me. No, I'm still working. I'm still talking to people, because a recent survey said 95% of Americans are praying for something, a way to make some extra money. We're still so affected by the pandemic. I know we're post-pandemic, what? I don't know, 2 years now or something like that. But Rob said 4 years, but people are still struggling from what happened to them during that time. Loss of jobs, furloughed, haven't recovered. We have the gift. And if we're not sharing, if we're not opening our mouths, shame on us, is what I think.
I totally agree with you 100%. I was reading the other day here, Amazon laid off 100,000 people. Microsoft laid off 40,000 people. Every time you look around, somebody, store after store after chain after chain after chain is closing up. Folks, we are in a recession. No, we're in depression, but they can't tell the average person, because they go panicking. Folks, they're looking for us right now. I remember when Amazon in Vegas laid off, I think it was 1,500 people. And I remember one of my guys, Adrian O'Neill, went straight out there to give us some flyers out. Just go talk to people as they came out the door, and he set up 7 appointments that way. But they're looking for us. Absolutely.
That's right. And I like that other term. I never make up anything. I steal everybody's terms and trainings. You, you know what they say, do today what others don't, to have tomorrow what others won't. And we just gotta be willing to do the hard stuff now so we can enjoy life later. It's not gonna happen, tomorrow or next month, but we gotta stay, in this thing. I tell people that join our team, please give this 12 to 24 months. And then let's see where you are. And when I say 12 to 24 months, 12 to 24 months of taking action, not just paying your website every month. So I just beat my head. I don't understand how more people don't see this, especially when you let them know you're going to be right there with them to help them, not do it for them, but to assist and help them. So that's how I feel about this thing. Once I make the decision to do something now, you're going to have to really dig me out of the ditch to get me out to do something
Yeah,
different.
stay focused. You
I'm just
know, if I tell people, if you work the business and you don't see the results in the next 24 months, trust me, it's working inside you. And later on, it'll come outside you. But you got to work on you inside, called personal development, to develop you and able to do the things. I'm in Mexico. Why? I worked my can off to be able to have something here, and I love it. But the whole idea, looking at a boat tomorrow, I love it because I paid the cost to do these things. And I'm trying to show people you can, whatever your goals are and dreams are, desires, ACM will give it to you. You just got to go to work and outwork other people. And don't focus on anything, just work and build the organization. And I'm so happy that you made senior vice president, and I'm loving that you're on a call. Give us a couple more tidbits of nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, let's see. Well, you mentioned one thing that you mentioned that I think is critically important is to commit to something, to focus on something, to not worry about what other people think about you. We're not competing against other people, and I'm competing against Willa Gipson, and
Yep.
I know what it's going to take for me to stay focused. And we can't fool ourselves. We got to look ourselves straight in the mirror and really ask ourselves, what are we doing to really build a great organization, bringing in the kind of income that we want. And I think we've got to be honest with ourselves. If we're just, talking, I tell my team, if you're just talking to somebody, once every now and then, once a week, your business will grow at a snail's pace. People say they want it, but what are you willing to do to get it? And you've got to talk to 5 people a day. And somebody might say, well, I've talked to everybody I know. No, you haven't. I don't listen to excuses, Al, because I tell
There you
my
go.
I'm not gonna. I could make all kinds of excuses. I could, but I'm not. So I don't want to hear yours because I'm not gonna give you an excuses. Because I have a pastor on my team that says excuses are useless, and that's exactly right.
Isn't it amazing how we go from one level up to another level in network marketing, ACN? The less we want to hear the garbage or the excuses, because we know their excuses, they know their excuses. But the more you improve yourself in ACN, from regional director to regional vice president, senior, you just don't have time for it. You just don't have time. It's a way. We know it's excuses,
Yeah,
and I love that you said that. I love it. And yeah.
I'll go ahead.
I always like to do contests. Matter of fact, I was talking to Mr. Clemens about doing a contest to bring people out of the country. I was surprised how many people don't even have passports. So if I ran a contest, hey, come down to my place, spend a couple of days. I don't know how many people could have, here again, you guys understand, you got to put the blinders on like in a horse race and just go and get it done. Don't look left, don't look right. That's why they're blinders. You don't see anything but the ACN opportunity. What'd you say about that, Ms. Gipson?
Yeah, and be a leader. Be a leader. And what I mean by that is, I heard somebody say the other day, you don't develop leaders, you find leaders, because leaders are leaders already. So, but you be a leader. You show people,
Hey,
the meaning in
we'd like to
the
be mixed.
and the value of what, because if ACN isn't in us, we're going to have a hard time with this business. You got to have it within you. You got to believe in it. And then that exudes. Your team will see that you believe in ACN, you believe in the value of it. So we've got to just really try to exemplify that through our own actions. That's the only best way I know to do it, is to just lead by example. And again, the leadership part is creating a culture where people want to be around you. Now, I'm not talking about a social hour. We've got people that get on Zooms every week for years, and you see no production. But
Yeah.
we're looking for people who really want to make a difference. And when we make a difference in other people's lives, we receive that back to us tenfold when we make a difference in other people's lives.
We just had a comment come through about, do you use any kind of social media?
Okay, I do, but in a very limited way, because
Yeah.
I've been through so many social media trainings. I don't know about me, Al. I guess it's not sticking hard. But yeah, I do use social media showing lifestyle. It's basically how I use it for my business. I don't necessarily use it as far as, hey, come be on my team, come see what I have. I think that's a turnoff, because when I see those things, that's a turnoff. But when I can see what Al Thomas is doing, he's got a home in Mexico, a home in Vegas, and no telling where else. I want to know how Al Thomas is doing that. And when I see that, those kinds of things on Facebook, then I am intrigued. So those are the kinds of things I want to put out on social media. I don't even have an Instagram account. I don't have a TikTok account. The only platform I do use is Facebook.
Yeah. Here again, like I say, everybody today is an expert. As I go through social media, everybody's got a master plan. Everybody's an expert. Been on it 4 years. I'm an expert. It's like taking a brand new couch and saying it's an antique. There's so many false things going out there. And that's why even on mine, I put 30 years or 30 plus years. Guys, I've done it. But the key is so I'm starting to learn how to use more of it, because and what I've been doing with my channel is getting a lot of leads for people to want to know what it is you do. I see you here. Last week, 2 weeks ago, last week we're in Turk and Caicos. This week I'm in Mexico. Next week I'm in Miami, and 2 weeks later I'm going to be in Paris. So when you see, like you said, when people see that you're moving and doing things, they want to know how can you afford to do that when they're at work and you're out there enjoying life. Folks, I'm telling you, like she said, lifestyle is so important. So important. I can't show a lot of stuff that we do, but on my side I can. But anyway, so
I do. Another thing about social media, I mean, interrupt you, Al. Another thing about social media I do pay attention to is when I do make posts and I see people like or comment or something like that are not in the business. I use that as a prospecting tool. I do reach out to them because maybe they're trying to figure out what I'm doing. So I do reach out to them and initiate conversation, and I do go from there. That's how I create some of the people on my list as well.
No, that's a great way, because see, I shouldn't say I don't like ACN people following you, but if all of the ACN, you're just using your tool for not to get new IBOs or fresh blood coming in, which is great. And I'm going to go back to what you said earlier about getting people qualified. I really have a thing in my organization, which I try to get people qualified on the spot or in the first 7 to 10 days. Because as you know, especially the senior vice president, how much money goes through our fingers that people don't get qualified and they wait to the last minute. And I keep telling people, I said, you know where that money goes because you didn't get qualified? Where? It goes to take care of our annual trips. Thank you very much. I might have not got paid weekly on it, but I'm taking your money and we're going on a trip. You're paying for our trips down to Turk and Caicos. You're paying for our trips. So folks, every time you get somebody in who's not getting qualified, they're paying for these trips that we go on. Now, let me guys ask you, who needs that money worse, ACN or you? You do. So by all means, get them qualified. I love what you said about that. And
it's stressful to wait when we as leaders let them wait to the 27th, 28th day. That is so stressful. And I don't want to do that. And I want to lead strongly, but I'm not going to be, oh my God, you didn't get those 5 serves. I can't stand it. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to lead pretty strongly and be on people the first 30 days, because we know if they don't get that first bonus, more times than not, they quit.
That's right. Yeah, ACN doesn't work because and ACN didn't work because they were not coachable, or because the sponsor didn't express to them the importance of getting qualified. And I always tell everybody, my job, Miss Deborah R., is to make you a poster child. My job is to brag about you, and I want to lift you up, but we got to do this to do that. And a lot of people don't do that. Let people know how important it is, not for you to get a check, but to make them your poster child for this month. When I got a guy, Blake Hunt, he went out up in Ohio, He's got 27 services on in 3 hours, all energy. He made $1,600. I took a snapshot of everywhere I went. I started talking about Blake Hunt, Blake Hunt, Blake Hunt. You know why? Because he's my poster child. When I talk about going out and getting 3 customers, 3 leads a day, especially in America, I don't know how we don't do this. I was in Fresno last week. Mr. Harrison Mills, we got 10 leads in an hour. I don't get how people can't get 3 a day. And then I talk about Mr. Payon over in Japan, who don't even speak Japanese. He's Mexican, Hispanic, and he speaks English and Spanish. He lives in Japan. He got 3 or 4 leads a day. And he's my poster child for going to get customer names and numbers. And here in America, we go, I apologize. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. It's so easy to do. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. But Mr. Thomas, you just said something a few minutes ago. I was listening to your travel schedule. You going to Paris, Texas, or Paris, France?
Paris, France at the end of June for a week.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, I want to be like Al Thomas when I grew up. Y'all have such an amazing leader, for sure.
If I could get them all to follow me, it'd be super. They'd all be making comment checks every week.
Yes, Lord. I think I'm gonna sign up with another alias and sign up under you, Al, because I would follow you to the end of the earth.
Well, you know how that is. The Bible says the prophet's not warned his own town. So sometimes your own people don't listen to you. Other people listen to you quicker than your own people. Ain't that amazing? And it's true in this business as well.
That's right. Get your friends out of the way first, because they could be your greatest disappointments.
Ooh, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah, so like I say, I try to get people, my goal is get everybody qualified in 7 to 10 days, because we all know waiting that last minute, and as big as the organizations are, senior vice president, there's 10, 20, 30, 40 people a month that just don't get qualified. Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Because either A, they weren't properly trained, like you said, with the back office, or the upline didn't understand the power of what they need to do immediately to make them their new success story. Everybody that's qualified is my success story, because I want to be able to brag on them. Think about it. People don't brag on people these days. I want to brag on people. In our business, we got to brag on people.
We love recognition. People love recognition. Motivation to move on. And that's a good tool creating culture. And I've got to do a better job of it myself. You know, we're getting ready to do a team Facebook. We're getting ready to get another team name. So, you know, a lot of this is on me as the leader. So I've got to take the lead. You
know, back in the old days in Excel, you know, my first contest I did was giving away we had the jackets were red and white, and I gave one away, cost $25. By giving it away, I put in front of my room, it says, win me. It's all I put on front of win me. And I only paid $25. I might have made about $500 just in production by giving a free jacket away that cost me $25, because I'm a business person. It's numbers. It's outside. See, we don't understand how to invest back in a business. So as soon as that contest was over, the same night, I had a briefcase I bought for $50, and I opened it up and left it on a chair and said, win me in it. And that thing might have made me $1,000. Then I went on to giving iPads away, trips to Vegas away, limousine rides away. The more I gave, the bigger my team got, because as you know, closed fist, the more you give, the more you get. But I was investing back in the money. I spent a little bit to gain a whole lot. People don't understand that philosophy.
That's right. Yep. You know, and I know we've got some new markets, you know, and they've made some money. And my thing is, take some of that money. I'm not saying take all of it. Take some of that money and spend it on going to Cleveland. You got to invest back into your business. So you mentioned personal development a few minutes ago, Al, and I kept hearing Larry Raskin talk about this book called Greatness, and by Dr. Cook. He's a sports psychologist, and I was thinking, he says it's $1 a page, it's 100 pages, $100 for a book. I got it, and it is amazing. It's all about the psychology of sports, but it applies so profoundly to what we do at ACN. It's the mindset. It's a mindset book. It's a psychology book. It is outstanding. So I highly recommend, if you have not read Greatness, it's a little bitty thin white book. I think it's Greatness by Dr. Cook. He's a sports
Dr. Cook. Guys, get it. $100 a book. Look, I'm at my house. Look how many books I brought. Look how many books I brought down here for me for a week. Leaders or readers? You know, people don't get that. Well, I don't like reading, Mr. Thomas. Well, you know what? All I'm going to say is this. All the wealthy people I know have libraries. Wealthy people have libraries. Broke people got big screen TVs.
Oh, ooh, ouch.
It's the truth.
Yeah, I'm writing that one down.
Yeah, bro. Wealthy people have libraries, books, because you can go back and reread a book. Now, it's not the same as listening to an audio. It's not the same. I was talking to, who was I talking to today? I was talking to somebody today about when time. Last night we got a book, and to read on the phone. It's hard to do that. But I like books. See, leaders have libraries. Broke people have big screen TVs.
Love it. I wrote that down.
I got books all over my office. I read it all the time. I read 3 or 4 or 5 books a month. Matter of fact, watch this. Pass me a bunch of them books over there. Let me show y'all something. I'm at my second. Look, I'm home away from home. Y'all don't understand. Look.
Wow. Wow.
Look. Wait. Hold it. Go that way. Look. Wealthy people have freaking libraries. Broke people got big screen TVs. You want to have a second or third house around the world? Start reading.
Wow.
Look at here.
This has helped me so much, Mr. Thomas. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I pissed off 4 or 5 people on that one right there. But that's why I live. That's why. Look, what they do? Hide it. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm teaching right. But some of you, it pissed you off because your little ego and pride got hurt right there. It got hurt right there. See, you can't go nowhere. That's why you're still stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck, right there, that same level, because you're not willing to learn from somebody who's already done it. And I'm trying to teach you guys.
Love to have a leader that speaks the truth. Don't sugarcoat anything. We try to create millionaires.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Years ago, I used to give these license plates frame around when I was in Sacramento. It said millionaires in training because they were in training. You know what? 2 weeks ago, I've always said I have 18 people I personally train in millionaires, 18. Guess what? 19's gone, 21. I'm 21. I got 21 millionaires I've trained now.
Wow.
So 3 more pop millionaires in the last 90 days. So you can't argue with that. You can't see. That's what I'm saying. Quit arguing and start learning. It's a skill set. It's a skill. I'm trying to teach skills.
Another thing I really try to do, I don't try to do, we've got one planned for July and it takes some work and preparation, but it's just what we do to create that culture is we're going to have a little pool party at my house, and we're going to cook out, and we're not going to, we'll talk a little bit about ACN, but the purpose of that is just to get with each other. If you want to bring your kids, bring them. Just have a time, cook out, have a hot dog, have a beverage, and let's just enjoy one another's company. Because another thing I have really found out about this business and having some people to work with, it's fun. We have a lot of fun together too. Just Turks and Caicos, that was fun. And I'm like Mr. Thomas, I want more of my team to qualify for these events so we can be a destination on the company's dime and have fun together.
And I've took a lot of my leaders with me on different trips outside the country, and I'd hope, that's all I could do. But the beautiful thing about this is also having the time at Caicos where all the leaders come together and enjoy each other, because at the convention, we're all super, super, super busy. But, the blessing is we all want the best for you guys. We all do. But you guys, are you really doing the work that's needed to be done to get you there? And I'm showing you lifestyle, not that I'm bragging about it. I'm trying to say you too can have it. If you follow what I give you, it flat out works. I was so proud last night, Miss Gipson. I just put on the spot people, because normally on Tuesday I have to do a 1 through 10. It's amazing. Only certain people show up. It's cracked me up. Those who really want it show up. The rest of it, I don't hear from them. But the whole idea is funny. Is I had the people, I said, okay, you've been under my leadership. You read this box. You read this box on the spot, non-rehearsed, and they all came through with flying colors, which makes me feel good, because that tells me my second and third string so-called leaders, no, they're riding your first string leaders because they can do this now. It's amazing to me.
What's your 1 through 10?
I do a presentation every Tuesday night. On the Zoom call, on this number every Tuesday night at 8:00 p.m. your time. I just do a presentation, and the funny part is, I read it. I just read it, and you have some fun with your organization. Have a special training, and say, hey, everybody, all leaders, all dairy, RD, whoever wants to come on, and just read a box or two. It will blow your mind how many people cannot read. I mean, just read the boxes. It'll blow your mind. And then you start thinking, is my leadership that bad? Or are they, what, then you start questioning, like we talked about as senior vice president, we question our leadership. Why can't they read this? This is not hard. Because everybody looks at the opportunity. There's only 3 questions every person have. Can I do what Miss Gipson did? Can I read the boxes? Can I send out a video? Yeah. Number 2, how much it's going to cost me? $324. I tell them up front. So when I start the presentation, all this negative stuff goes away. When can I get my money back? In the first 30 days or sooner, if you're coachable. My disclaimer, if you're coachable. And it's amazing what happens. I get people like this. And there's other people that haven't signed up for people in months, weeks, days. They're not, I'm trying to show them how to do it. Yeah.
Well, if they're not following that lead, Mr. Thomas, I'm like, see ya, deuces. I gotta go. I gotta go find some people that get it and want to run with me. Steve
That's
Fisher
right.
I'll run with the runners, I'll walk with the walkers, but by golly, I am not sitting with the sitters. And
I love it.
I have somebody right now, and I'm sure not gonna call her name, and I love her, but been in the business a couple of years, Al and team, has been on all the Zooms, has been to the events, still reaches out to me, hey, how can I send out a video? I mean, and we've trained on all of this. How can I, what do I need to say to somebody I'm trying to prospect? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? We talk about this all the time. We train. So I'm thinking, are you that? Okay, I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there.
I
Deborah,
know.
Deborah R, I see you. I know Deborah R. I see you, girl.
Yeah.
You got somebody else on there from Fort Worth, John from Fort Worth. That's my hood, Fort Worth.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be surprised. Yeah. Yeah. They walk, as John Maxwell said, they walk among us.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, give us a few words in closing, because we've taken enough of your time. And I think we got massages going off here in about 10 minutes. We got to go to. It's a walk around the block here, down a block and a half.
Nice.
But oh yeah, listen. Look. What did James Brown say? I paid the cost to be the boss.
Yes, sir.
I paid the cost after 35 to be the boss. So I'm trying to show people, if I can do it, y'all can do it. And here's the crazy part: you can do it even quicker with Zoom nowadays. You don't have to, like Miss. What did she say? She's driving 4 hours one way, and the next day she's going 8 hours another. Look, guys, with Zoom, even still, I like to show up to the appointments. That's why I still like to travel to show up, like you said, in front of people, because and I only go where I want it. And that's a blessing. You'd be surprised. I only go where I want it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that.
Oh yeah, I know you do. Because everybody ain't finishing with you, because you can't teach them nothing. They get stuck in one position. They can't go no higher because they're lid. But I thank you today for your time. I want to say thank you. And yes, I'll be happy to talk to your leaders. I know that's coming next. Look, I already knew that, girl. It's so funny. I'm gonna tell you how good God is. The last 2 weeks, 4 other teams and other MLMs that sell products had me come in to generally do a general talk. You know why? Because they want to know, how do you do it for all these years? Other teams and other companies, leaders call me, can you do a generic talk for my group? And I tell them the same thing my group do. And I said, well, it's amazing. Their group is firing, is jumping and going crazy. And they want me to come back. And I'm telling the same thing I tell this group here. Guys, just do something every day to move your business forward. So Miss Gipson, give us a few words in closing. We'll let you go, dear, and get off of you today. I love this. This has been a great call.
Well, thank you so much again, Al, for having me on. I'm truly transparent when I say I refer to him as a legendary Al Thomas, because I've been hearing about Al Thomas for decades, and you're so blessed to have him leading the way. But my final comments are pretty simple. It's nothing magical about this. Is you got to stay engaged. You got to stay engaged. If people aren't getting on Zooms, if people aren't coming to home meetings, if people aren't getting to the events, I just really don't have time to work with them. I'm just going to be plain and truthful there, because it's hard for me to bring you along when you're not sitting in the seats hearing what I'm hearing. It's hard for me to regurgitate what I heard at an event. You've got to be there. So stay engaged. This is old school, Al. Work off a list. I don't care if it's squares. I don't care if it's on your phone. I don't care if it's in your calendar, but it needs to be written down and working off a list. And then you need to make notes. Were they receptive? When do I follow back up with them? Because if we're talking to I've got some people right now on my team. They are doing good, Al, at bringing people to the Zooms or bringing people to the home meetings. But are we closing the deal? I reach out to them and say, hey, if I need to do a three-way call with you right after the Zoom, let me know so we can close the deal. Hey, if we need to do a private Zoom because they say they think they really want to do this, but have some questions, let's set it up. I tell my team, you can't overwork me. If I don't,
Thank you.
if I'm not getting calls from you, if I'm not getting messages from you needing assistance, I know you're doing zero. Just like you said earlier, Al, if they're not producing, bringing in different IBOs, bringing in customers, they're not doing anything. So stay engaged. Make sure you're attending these things and work off a list, and don't make excuses. Why? Oh, my kid has a soccer game. Oh, somebody was in the hospital. You know what? I'm very sensitive to things that happen in our lives. But I went through a divorce while I was building my team. My mother passed while I was building a team, and my mother passed, and it was the rock in my life. But 2 or 3 days after that, I'm back in the game. My mom's gone. She's with her Heavenly Father. Nothing else I can do about that. I got to work this business. And that's what I do. So those are my closing comments that I'll make, Al. And again, thank you so much. I'm going to reach out to you on your schedule, see when you can talk to my leaders, because they need to hear from Al Thomas.
Dear, I thank you so much. And I will be happy to do that for you.